Good morning everybody. How are you today? I hope all are fine. Welcome back to our science class. Do you remember last week's lesson? Yes, it's about heat. Okay, then what are the topics we discussed in our last video? In this video, we are going to discuss about the following points. Laboratory thermometer, transfer of heat. It includes conduction, convection and radiation. Okay, these are all topics we are going to discuss in this video. Okay, let's start. What are the topics we discussed in our last video? About clinical thermometer. What is the use of the clinical thermometer? Clinical thermometer is used to measure our body temperature of human beings. How do we measure the temperature of other objects? For this purpose, there are other thermometers. One such thermometer is known as the laboratory thermometer. Okay, this is the picture of laboratory thermometer. The range of the laboratory thermometer is generally from -10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. The thermometer used to measure the temperature of other objects is known as laboratory thermometer, and its range is from -10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. Okay, now we can discuss about how to measure temperature of other objects by using laboratory thermometer. For this, we can do one experiment. Are you ready? Okay. Students, now we can discuss about the difference between clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer. Earlier, we discussed about the clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer. Now we can discuss about the difference between clinical and laboratory thermometer. What are the differences? A clinical thermometer is used to measure our body temperature. A clinical thermometer is also known as what? Medical thermometer. Also called a medical thermometer. And its ranges from a clinical thermometer uses a Celsius scale on one side and Fahrenheit scale on the other side. A clinical thermometer reads temperature from 35 to 42 degrees Celsius. temperature of humans cannot go below 35 and above 42. Normal human temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. Laboratory thermometers. Laboratory thermometers are used in the laboratories to measure the temperature of other objects. The range of laboratory thermometer is from -10 to 110 degrees Celsius. Then one important difference is that laboratory thermometers, when we taken out, their scale changes. But in the case of clinical thermometer, it contains a kink near their bulb, so the scale does not change in the clinical thermometer. When we observe a clinical thermometer, we can see a kink near the bulb. Kink means a bend or a curve. What is the use of this bend or curve or kink? The kink will prevent mercury level from falling on its own. There is a lot of concern over the use of mercury in thermometers. Mercury is a toxic substance and is very difficult to dispose of if a thermometer breaks. Mercury is a very toxic and substance. So it is very difficult to dispose. Okay, in these days, digital thermometers are available which do not use mercury. Nowadays, we can available digital thermometers and it does not contain mercury. Now we can discuss about a new topic. Transfer of heat. You might have observed that a frying pan becomes hot when kept on a flame. It is because what? It is because the heat passes from the flame to the utensil. Heat passes from the flame to the utensil or pan. And when the pan is removed from the fire, what happens? It slowly cools down. Why does it cool down? Yes, the heat is transferred from the pan to the surroundings. So you can understand that in both cases, the heat flows from a hotter object to a colder object. So it is known as, this process is known as what? Conduction of heat. In fact, in all cases, heat flows from a hotter object to a colder object. How does heat flow? Let us investigate. We can do one experiment.
Now fix the iron rod on the stand as shown. Then dip the head of the iron nails in the melted wax and stick them at equal distances on the iron rod. Then light the candle and place it at the other end of the rod. Wait for a while. What do you observe after a while? The nail closest to the candle will fall off the rod first, then the next nail, and so on.
From the experiment, we can observe that the heat is transferred from the hotter end to the colder end. So, the process by which the heat is transferred from the hotter end to the colder end of an object is known as conduction. In solids, generally the heat is transferred by the process of conduction. Okay, do all substances conduct heat easily? You must have observed that the metallic pan for cooking has a plastic or wooden handle. Can you lift a hot pan by holding it from the handle without getting hurt? Okay, now we can do one activity that shows, do all substances conduct heat or not? Okay, this is the activity. Heat water in a small pan or a beaker. Collect some articles such as steel spoon, plastic scale, pencil and divider. Dip the one end in hot water. Wait for a few minutes. Touch the other end. What is your observation? Record your observation in the following table. This is the table. It shows article, materials with which the article is made of, and the other end hot or not. First one, steel spoon. When we dip the one end of the steel spoon in hot water and touch the other end, then what happens? It get hot. Yes, and the article is made up of, steel spoon is made up of a metal. Next one, plastic scale. It is made up of plastic, and if it get hot, no. Third one, pencil. Pencil is made up of wood. If it other end is hot or cold, yes, it is cold. Then the fourth one is divider. It is made up of metal, so the other end get hot. Okay, it is the observation. In steel spoon and divider, they allow the heat to pass through them. So we can say that the materials which allow heat to pass through them easily are called what? Conductors. Conductors, the materials which allow heat to pass through them easily are called conductors. For example, what? Aluminium, iron, copper, etc. are examples. In this activity, we can say that steel spoon and divider are examples of conductors. Okay. Then, the other materials. The materials which do not allow heat to pass through them easily are called what? Insulators. What are the examples of insulators? Wood, plastic are examples of insulators. In our activity, we can say that this plastic scale is made up of plastic, so it does not allow heat to pass through them. So it is insulator. And pencil. Pencil is made up of wood and it does not allow heat to pass through them easily. So we can say that this plastic and wood are examples of insulators. The water and air are poor conductors of heat, right? Then how does the heat transfer take place in these substances? Let us find out.
We already filled here. We are going to place it on the tripod stand. Then we are going to add some potassium permanganate crystals. Then we will wait for some time for the potassium permanganate crystals to settle down. And we will place our burner here. Then we will light the burner. And let's see what happens. When the water at the bottom of the flask is heated, it expands. The expanded water is less dense than the surrounding water and therefore starts to rise. In doing so, the cooler regions of the water in the upper part of the flask, being denser, sink. This movement of the liquid, due to a difference in its density, sets up a convection current as you see in this video.
convection of heat. When water is heated, the water near the flame gets hot. Hot water rises up. The cold water from the sides moves down towards the source of heat. This water also gets hot and rises, and water from the sides moves down. This process continues till the whole water gets heated. This mode of heat transfer is known as convection. Now we can move the last session of this video. Exercise. First one, what are the similarities and differences between the clinical and laboratory thermometer? Second one, give 2 examples of both conductors and insulators. Third one, temperature of a boiling water cannot be measured by a dash thermometer. Temperature of a boiling water cannot be measured by which thermometer? Fourth one, a cold steel spoon dipped in a cup of hot milk. It transfers heat to its other end by the process of dash. Name the process. Okay, this is all about this video.